Yeah, you sleep on the sofa, and I will sleep on the window seat.
The window seat? Oh, well, let's not argue about it. The window seat's good enough for me tonight. I'll just sleep on the window seat.
Johnny, all this arguing reminds me of, Mr. Spinello and...
Spinello! Well, Mortimer, there's really no need for you to inconvenience yourself like this. We'll sleep down here tonight.
Jonathan, your sudden concern for me is very unconvincing.
Come along, Johnny. We go get the bags.
Don't bother, Doctor.
By the way, Doctor, I've completely lost track of Mr. Spinello.
Who's this Mr. Spinello?
He's just a friend that Johnny's been trying to find.
Don't let anyone else in here.
Come along, Johnny. Bobby Pack, I tell you all about it.
Mortimer, you really don't have to sleep down here. I'll go in with Martha, and you can take my room.
Don't worry about it, Aunt Abby. We'll be packed in a few minutes. Then you can have the room, Mortimer.
You're just wasting your time, Jonathan. I told you I'm staying down here.
Mortimer!
What's the matter, darling?
I've almost been killed!
You've almost been... Abby! Martha!
No! It was Jonathan! He mistook her for a sneak thief.
No, Mortimer, it was more than that. He's some kind of maniac. I'm afraid.
Darling, you're trembling. Have you got any smelling salts?
Oh, no, but do you think some hot tea or some coffee?
Some coffee. And make some for me, too. And some sandwiches. I haven't had any dinner.
Martha, we can leave our things downstairs here now.
Are you going somewhere? Do you know what time it is? It's after 12. 12! Elaine, you've got to go home right away.
What? Why, you wanted some sandwiches for you both. It won't take a minute.
Why didn't you remember? We were going to celebrate your engagement. Why, yes, dear, that's what we'll do. We'll make some sandwiches for the two of you.
And I'll open a bottle of wine.
All right. No wine!
Mortimer, what's going on in this house?
What do you mean, what's going on in this house?
We were supposed to go to dinner in the theater tonight, and you called it off. You asked me to marry you, and I said that I would. And 5 minutes later, you threw me out of your house, and now tonight, just after your brother tries to strangle me, you want to chase me home. Now listen here, Mr. Brewster, before I go anywhere, I want to know where I stand. Do you love me?
Yes, Elaine, I love you very much. In fact, I love you so much, I can't marry you.
Have you suddenly gone crazy?
I don't think so. It's just a matter of time. You see, insanity runs in my family. It practically gallops. That's why I can't marry you, dear.
Mortimer, you're going to have to do better than that.
I'm sorry, but there's a strange taint in the Brewster blood. Why, our family is... It's what you'd expect if Strindberg had written Hell's a Poppin'.
Now, just because Teddy is a little...
It goes way back to the first Brewster, the one who came over on the Mayflower. You know, in those days, how the Indians used to scalp the settlers? Well, he used to scalp the Indians.
Now, Mortimer, that's ancient history.
The whole family. Take grandfather, for instance. He tried his patent medicines out on dead people to make sure he wouldn't kill them.
Now, he wasn't so crazy. He made $1 million.
And then there's Jonathan. He's a maniac. You just said he tried to kill you.
Yes, but Mortimer, he's your brother, not you. I'm in love with you.
And then there's Teddy. You know Teddy. He thinks he's Roosevelt. No, dear. No Brewster should marry. Why, I realize now that if I would have met my father in time, I would have stopped him.
Now, Mortimer, all of this doesn't prove that you're crazy. Look at your aunts. They're Brewsters, aren't they? And the sanest, sweetest people I know.
Even they have their peculiarities.
Yes, but darling, What lovely peculiarities. Kindness, generosity, human sympathy.
There's another one!
Darling, of course there are others. You can't tell me anything about your aunt.
No, dear, I'm not going to. Look, Elaine, you've got to go home. Something very important's just come up.
Up? From where? We're here together. Alone.
I know I'm acting irrationally, but just put it down to the fact that I'm a mad Brewster.
Hey, if you think you're going to get out of this by pretending you're insane, you're crazy. You might not be marrying me, but I'm going to marry you. I love you, you dope.
Well, if you marry me, will you get out of here?
Well, Mortimer, will you walk me home? I'm afraid.
Afraid of a little walk through the cemetery?
Mortimer, will you kiss me goodnight?
Yes, of course. Good night, Elaine. Call you up in a day or two.
You critic!
Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, come in here.
We'll be in a minute, dear.
Come in here now.
Yes, dear, what is it? Where's Elaine?
I thought you promised me not to let anyone else into this house while I was gone.
Well, Jonathan
I
just
don't mean
walked in,
Jonathan.
and Dr. Einstein
I don't mean
was
Dr.
with-
Einstein. Who's that in the window seat?
We told you, Mr. Hoskins.
That is not Mr. Hoskins.
Well, who could that be?
Aunt Abby, do you mean to tell me that you've never seen this gentleman before?
I certainly am. Well, that's a fine how do you do. It's getting so anybody thinks he can walk into this house.
Now, Aunt Abby, that's another one of your gentlemen.
Mortimer, how can you say such a thing? That man's an imposter. And if he came here to be buried in our cellar, he is mistaken.
Now, Aunt Abby, you admitted to me that you put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat.
Yes, I did.
Well, he couldn't have just gotten the idea for Mr. Hoskins. By the way, where is he?
He must have gone to Panama.
You mean you buried him in the cellar?
Oh, no, he's just down there waiting for the services. We haven't had a minute, what with Jonathan in the house. Oh, dear. We've always wanted to hold a double funeral, but I will not read services over a total stranger.
Now, Aunt Abby, how can I believe you? You told me that there are 12 gentlemen in the cellar and that you poisoned them.
Yes, I did. But you don't think I'd stoop to telling a fib? Martha!
Oh, Mortimer, I'd like to have a word with you.
A word's about all you'll have time for, Jonathan, because I've decided that it's time for you and your doctor friend to get out of here just as quickly as possible.
Mortimer, I'm glad you recognize the fact that we can no longer live under the same roof, but you've arrived at the wrong solution. Now take your suitcase and get out.
Jonathan, you're beginning to bore me. You played your one-night stand in Brooklyn. Move on.
My dear Mortimer, just because you've graduated from the back fence to the typewriter, don't think you've grown up. I'm staying and you're leaving. And I mean now.
If you think I can be frightened, if you think there's anything I fear.
I've lived a strange life, Mortimer. But it's taught me one thing. To be afraid of nothing.
Martha, just look and see what's in that window seat.
Now,
No,
Aunt
Aunt
Abby. Jonathan, let Aunt Martha see what's in the window seat. Aunt Abby, I owe you an apology. I have very good news. Jonathan is leaving. He's taking Dr. Einstein and his cold companion with him. Now, Jonathan, you're my brother. You're a Brewster. So I'm going to give you a chance to get out and to take the evidence with you. You couldn't ask for more than that. Very well. I'll just have to telephone the police.
Don't reach for that telephone. Are you still giving me orders after seeing what's happened to Mr. Spinalzo?
Spinalzo?
I knew he was a foreigner.
Remember what happened to Spinalzo can happen to you, too.
Hello, Miss Abby.
Oh, how do you do, Officer O'Hara?
Oh, I saw your lights on and thought there might be sickness in the house. You've got company. I'm sorry I disturbed you.
Oh, no, do come in.
Yes, come in, Officer O'Hara.
Well, come right in, come right in. Oh, this is our nephew, Mortimer.
Pleased to meet you.
And this is another nephew, Jonathan.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. Oh, it must be nice having your nephews visiting you. Are they going to stay for a bit?
I'm staying. My brother Jonathan was just leaving.
I've met you here before, haven't I?
I'm afraid not. Jonathan hasn't been home for years.
Oh, but your face looks so familiar to me. Maybe I've seen a picture of you somewhere.
I don't think so.
You better get going, Jonathan. Your things are all packed away anyway.
Oh, well, you'll be wanting to say your goodbyes. I'll be running along.
What's the rush? We'd like you to stay until my brother goes.
I just dropped in to make sure everything was all right.
Oh, well, we're going to have some coffee. Won't you join us?
Oh, I forgot the coffee.
I know I'll make a few extra sandwiches. I ought to know your appetite by this time, Officer O'Hara.
Oh, don't bother. I'm due to ring in a few minutes.
You come in and have a cup of coffee. We'll wait until my brother goes. Come in, come in, come in.
Say, ain't I seen a photograph of your brother around someplace?
I don't think so.
He certainly reminds me of somebody.
He looks like someone you may have seen in the movies.
Oh, I never go to the movies. I hate them. My mother says the theater is the true art.
Your mother says that?
Yep, my mother was an actress, a stage actress. Perhaps you've heard of her, Peaches Latour?
The name sounds like something I may have seen in a program. What did she play?
Her big hit was Mutt and Jeff. Played for 3 years. I was born on tour, the 3rd season.
You were?
Yep, Sioux City, Iowa. I was born at the end of the 2nd act in Mother's dressing room, and she made the finale.
What a trooper. Sounds like there's a good story in your mother. You know, I write about the theater.
You do? Say, you're not Mortimer Brewster, the dramatic critic?
Yes.
Oh, well, I certainly am glad to meet you. Say, we're in the same line of work.
We are?
Yep, I'm a playwright. Oh, this being on the police force, it's just temporary.
How long have you been on the force?
12 years. I'm collecting material for a play.
I'll bet it's a honey.
Well, it ought to be. With all the drama I see being a cop, Mr. Brewster, you've got no idea what goes on in Brooklyn.
I think I do.
Oh, say, what time you got?
10 after 1.
Oh, gee, I gotta ring in.
Oh, but Officer O'Hara, I may be able to help you on that play of yours.
You would? Oh, say, it was fate my walking in here tonight. Okay, look, I'll tell you the plot. So it opens in my mother's dressing room.
That's right, Jonathan. You'd better hurry. You haven't got much time, you know.